ముందుగా ప్రియమైన విద్యార్థులకు మరియు వారి తల్లిదండ్రులకు నమస్కారం. నా పేరు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ చైర్మన్. నేను ఈ రోజు 10th క్లాస్ విద్యార్థులను దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని మాట్లాడడం జరుగుతుంది. అది ఏమిటనగా, మనందరికీ తెలుసు, గత 2 సంవత్సరాలుగా కరోనా కారణంగా విద్యార్థులు ఎటువంటి పరీక్షలు రాయకుండానే పై తరగతులు పంపడం జరుగుతుంది. ఫలితంగా ఐఐటి జేఈఈ మరియు నీట్ లాంటి జాతీయ స్థాయి పరీక్షలను సాధించడం కష్టతరం అవుతుంది. దీనిని అధిగమించడానికి మరియు 10వ తరగతి పరీక్షలో అత్యధిక మార్కులు సాధించడానికి నేను మీ ముందుకు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ద్వారా అనుభవజ్ఞులైన అధ్యాపకులచే ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులు, హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్ మరియు గత ప్రశ్నపత్రాల సమాధానాల విశ్లేషణ ఇవ్వబడును. కాబట్టి నేను విద్యార్థులకు చెప్పదలుచుకున్నది ఏంటంటే, ఈ ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులను మరియు హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్లను క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో కూర్చొని చదువుకున్నంత సీరియస్ చదువుకోవాలను. ఇంకొకటి ఏమిటనగా, ఈ యొక్క క్లాసులు విన్న వెంటనే అర్థం చేసుకొని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయవలను. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయడం అంటే కేవలం చదవడం కాదు, పేపర్ మీద రాయవలను. అలాగైతే గుర్తుండిపోతుంది. దీంతో పాటు మీ యొక్క నాలెడ్జ్ ని పరీక్షించుకున్న కొరకు త్వరలో ప్రీ ఫైనల్ పరీక్షలు కూడా నిర్వహించబడు. ఈ యొక్క అవకాశాన్ని సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవాలని 10th చదివే విద్యార్థులకు విజ్ఞప్తి చేస్తున్నాను.
So for us to understand the differences is a very important part. Once we understand these differences, this is the growth and all this, then only we will be able to understand even our gross domestic product even in a better format. So understand, I think this is very clear, in a very short and crisp. These are the different sectors. We compared the graph between 1972-73 and 2017 and 18. And this is going to be a very important question, because CC concept question model, say continuous comprehensive evaluation, which is Telangana pattern, they don't ask you direct questions because they want you to think. They want you to think and give you logical answers. That is the reason why everything is being provided in a tabular form to answer very easily and understand the concepts better. So obviously 1972-73, the differences in the 3 different sectors. Agriculture is always your primary sector, industry always comes under your secondary sector, and services always falls under your territory sector, the third sector. So see the differences, you have a reason, and when the questions are being asked, you please furnish the reasons, because we understood what are the reasons are. So you understood these three sectors of the economy better, then you will be able to get across into the gross domestic product even in a better form. I think it was this very clear, students. Now the next we will get into gross domestic product. How is gross domestic product really being taken into consideration? How is it being taken into consideration? We will get into the depth of the gross domestic product, and even then we will be getting across into we will work on the organized sector and the unorganized sector. Once we get into organized sector and unorganized sector, then we can understand it, because we are clear with all the sectors, then we can get a crystal clear picture of GDP, which is gross domestic product. Now once we are done with this, so now let us focus on organized sector and unorganized sector. Again, what is this organized and unorganized sector? I will tell you what is this organized and unorganized sector. Don't get confused that there are so many sectors which we are being showcased. This is nothing, very simple. As I said you, there are only 3 sectors in the economy: the primary, the secondary, as well as the territory. Now these sectors also fall among organized as well as the unorganized sectors. And what are organized sector and unorganized sectors? First, I think I explained you what is an organized sector. Organized sector is nothing but all the services and all the production which falls under the domain of the government. We call it as organized sector, and it's vice versa. All the sector, all the work and all the services which are out of the domain of the government, privatization, they are called as unorganized sector. So let us understand this organized sector and unorganized sector even in depth now. Understand every point very keenly, because you might get even a single 1 mark answer if some of the differences between organized sector as well as unorganized sector too. And the differences between organized sector as well as unorganized sector, believe me students, this comes always generally in a 4 marks answer. Sometimes he might ask even in 2 marks answer, but not necessarily you need to pen down all these points in a 2 marks answer. 2 to 3 points should be more than enough. The takeaway points of 2 to 3 points should be absolutely fine, which will really face the needs of 2 marks. When a question is being generally asked in a 4 marks question, and I expect all the students to pen down all these points, deliberately you'll have to explain them with all that ambiguity and all. Okay, now very quickly, let us come across organized sector. Let us differentiate between organized sector and organized sector. We understood the skeletal structure of organized sector and the skeletal structure of unorganized sector. What a simple thing. Organized is a government sector, which fall under government sector, unorganized is which is out of the domain of unorganized sector. Now let us understand the intricacies of organized sector. What is organized sector? It has a formal process and procedures, because it forms under the government procedures. We call it, they have some formal processes and procedures. Means what? You can't go and do whatever you want. For everything you have a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 as such. You have a formal procedures which you'll have to follow as a protocol mandatorily into this organized sector. The first thing is it has formal processes and procedures mandatorily. And now the second thing is it gives security of the employment. You understand, children, not in generation, probably even in my generation, some of them in my mom's and dad's generation, and even there are some of the aspirants even in today's generation, some of them they really want to get into government sector. Why? Because you have the job security. In private sector, whenever they want, if it doesn't work, if you're not performing up to the mark, they will give a pink slip and give it 2 to 3 months of notice, and you'll be asked, you'll be terminated. Unlike in a government sector, you'll be given opportunity to correct yourself, and nobody can terminate you once you're into the service until you complete the age, the prescribed age of 60 or 60 plus 2. So obviously in government sector, you have a job security. You have a job security that nobody can remove you. That's a hard fast rule. So majority of us, some of them really want to get into service sector. So obviously it gives security of the employment. As I said, you are safe and secure in your job, because at the end of the day, every human being wants some security in his job, and you get that security in government sector, which is again organized sector. And the third one, it has a fixed number of hours. You must be seeing, I am not commenting, nor I am not in favoritism of government sector and private sector, absolutely not. I am here to explain the intricacies of organized sector as well as unorganized sector. Every sector has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. Just try to understand them, that's it, okay. Organized sector has a fixed number of hours, like they'll have to come by 10 a.m. and stay back till 6 p.m. and just leave the office. These are some of the time restricted time. Okay, this is generally that happens in the organized sector in the government offices.
Hello students, myself is Sanjay Kumar Singh and I did my BE from Birla Institute of Technology, Misra, and I am having 18 years experience of teaching. Now I am associated with KVC classes. Now here the advantage which you people are going to get, that there is a technical pool of faculty, mostly from IITs. So this is one of the biggest enabler for achieving your success. The second best thing is that doubt classes and all, they are conducted in the presence of faculties. So third is that your entire curriculum, timing of teachings, all is being monitored by ITMs and NITMs. So come here and join us.
Okay, it provides a paid leave, payment during holidays and provident fund, etc. also. Yes, you have paid leave also. The leave which is being accumulated for this month, it keeps on accumulated and being pushed a particular time, and all the leaves also they are being paid. And what is this PF? Provident fund means a person once he retires from his services, and some of the amount every month from his based on his cadre and based on the department which is working, some of the amount is being picked up on his name only, it is being deposited as provident fund. That's a provident fund, and apart from that, every month once his retirement, he will be getting some pension. There is some percentage and all, let's not get into those details and all that, because that's not appropriate to us right now. Only thing is government sector, government employees in the organized sector, they have the opportunity wherein they can avail provident funds and pensions also, okay. and it has workers from government companies and large establishments. Again students, when you're looking the board, why is it I have written the short form? Don't get into this stuff because I want to teach you more topics very fastly. I am opting the short forms, but I don't want any single student writing the short forms in the exams. Okay, so it has workers from government companies and large establishment. What is it saying large establishment? For example, I will tell you here, we can write example as a bigger company as BHEL. You can write it as one of the bigger example is BHEL. What is BHEL? Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. So obviously the companies under the government are very huge. They have a huge campuses, huge setup and all. So obviously simple thing, crystal form, short, crisp and sweet. Organized sector is all, restricted sector. Organized sector is a domain totally confined to government sector. Got it, very clear. Now let's move to the unorganized sector. What is unorganized sector? It has small and scattered units. The setup of the organized is very huge and heavy, but when it comes to unorganized sector, we have small and scattered units. You know, you need to get a registration done under the government, and you can start up a setup. Even there are certain simple norm protocols in this particular area. They start off with this 1500 square feet, or I don't know what is it exactly. They'll have some certain norms and regulations. In that you can start your own setup. You can do that. Okay, so for example, cottage industries, do you think they fall under government sector, organized sector? No, absolutely not. A small sectors, anybody can do that. A small cottage industry wherein, ladies in the home, they can start off doing some, good work and all, craft work and all. They all form under unorganized sector because there is no government employee there, there is no government there. You are a boss of your own. Right, so it has small and scattered, means what, segregated units outside the control of government. There is no government intervention in this unorganized sector. It is your own intervention. It's all privatization. No government will never interfere into this. The rules and regulations are not enforced. As government sector, you have a set of frame of rules. You does not have set of frames of rules run by government, but every private unorganized sector as a private management, they can have their own set of rules, but government's intervention is never here in an unorganized sector. Now coming to the third point, jobs are low paid and non-regular. When you keep going across in the privatization, unorganized sector, IT firms and all, they're being really paid well. I don't say that unorganized sector really are paying very low comparatively to government sector. It's, overall discussion, overall definition, that's all. Jobs are low paid comparatively to the government sectors. Yes, in certain aspects, the payment is low when you come across, when you're talking about the cottage industries and all, the payment is really comparatively low. Because in the government sectors, they have a minimum wages act. Beyond that, any employee cannot get even less than that. But there is no wages act like in unorganized sector, the privatization, right student? So obviously, jobs are low paid. ఒక నిర్దిష్టమైన డబ్బులు కంటే తక్కువ ఇవ్వకూడదని గవర్నమెంట్ సెక్టర్లో ఖచ్చితంగా ఒక రూల్ ఉంటుంది. కానీ అనార్గనైజ్ సెక్టర్లో ఆ రూల్ అనేది ఉండదు. ఎవడైతే కంపెనీకి ఓనర్ అవుతాడో వాడికి వాడి యొక్క పరిధిలో వాడు పెట్టుకోగలిగే అర్హత వాడికి ఉంటుంది. వాడు డెసిషన్ తీసుకోగలడు. కానీ ఆర్గనైజ్ సెక్టర్లో డెసిషన్ గవర్నమెంట్ మాత్రమే తీసుకుంటుంది. ఓకే, అండ్ నౌ నో ప్రొవిజన్ ఆఫ్ ఓవర్ టైమ్ పెయిడ్ లీవ్డ్. ఇక్కడ మనకు ఈ ప్రైవేట్ సెక్టర్, ఆర్గనైజ్ సెక్టర్లో you come in the morning by 9 or 10 and stay back till 5 p.m. and if the work demands you stay back even 7 or 8, even more than that, you stay back and do that. But you're not being paid you stay extra amount of time, you're not being paid. But there in organized sector, government sector, you're being paid. Everything counts there. So that is, it is nothing people are opt government sectors, but these days the new generation, everybody is opting even unorganized sector, the private sector, because private sector also has mounted a lot. And now jobs always depend on the whims of the employer and changes in the market solutions. What do you mean by that? As I said in the organized sector, here jobs always depends on the whims, means the moods, the moods of the employer. Who is the owner of the company? It all depends upon him. It all depends on, because there is no body who can really control him, because it's whole and soul his company. So obviously organized sector is always like that. and it all depends on the changes in the market solution. So whatever the changes in the market solution, based on the market solution, they keep on changing. But organized sector, it's not like that. They have standard norms, rules and regulations. Once a person is into the employment, he cannot be removed until and unless he completes a particular age limit of 60 plus and whatever it is. So these are the differences between the organized sector and unorganized sector. These 5 points, if you remember, these are the 5 key points. You will have to remember all these 5 key points of organized and unorganized sector, and this comes under the 4-mark question, and sometimes even he question you even in 2 marks question and then pen down 2 to 3 points, or he might ask you in 1 mark answer what is organized sector, what is unorganized sector. Now I think the definition is very clear for you, what is organized and unorganized. What is it in one word? Organized is confined to government domain and unorganized is not confined to government domain. Very simple, I think got it, right students? So this is all about your organized sector and unorganized sector.